Yo, so guys, welcome back to another reaction. This is a video, 10 lies Europeans believe about American people. You know how these sort of videos are. It's just someone basically saying things that I guess are stereotypically for, or just things like that. And I guess I'll see whether I think they're true, or I'll just sort of see or whatever. I'll just watch this video and learn. But yeah, hopefully you're going to enjoy. If you want some more of my reactions, links are in the description to my Patreon, where there's all kinds of reactions that I can't post to YouTube because they would get blocked or whatever. And yeah, people can suggest me reactions through the Patreon as well. So if you're interested in that, links are in the description, because yeah, it's just for those who want to see some movie or series reactions or whatever it is. But yeah, we're going to jump into this video and see some of these lies that we've been told our entire lives. Well, I'll say if it's a lie or not, I don't know.
The next lie, okay, and this might just be a me thing, but the next lie that I believed about America before I went to America, and I actually think you're going to probably slag me off for this in comments. So today I'm going to be talking about 10 weird lies Europeans are told about America. Things that I learned growing up, and that then once I visited America, I kind of had to unlearn. In case you're interested, I also have a list doing this the other way around, so let me know below in comments if you want to see lies Americans are told about Europe. And today's video is brought to you by the new thing that has been consuming an hour of my evening every day on the couch. It's the mobile game Hero Wars. I know a lot of you guys are big film
Getting her money, fair plays. You get that money.
When I was there, I may have seen some celebrities, but they were keeping really low key and had baseball caps on, so they were very hard to spot. And Hollywood, as I said, told was that Hollywood is full of shiny things and celebrities are just everywhere.
Wait, Hollywood's I didn't know it was like a place. I just thought Hollywood was the name of, like, I mean, I guess I knew it was a place, but I just thought it was like where all the films are like shot and stuff, or like where it's all like made or like written and stuff like that. I just thought it was this epicenter of the movie industry. I didn't really realize it was actually a place where people live. Is it a place where people live?
I'm gonna
Oh shit, there's the Hollywood sign. What am I saying?
say it. Hollywood is
I'm so stupid. There's a Hollywood sign, but how big is Hollywood? Yeah, it's like the rich people, the rich homes and stuff. I know that because of GTA, and it's copied off that, and it's where all the big houses are.
itself is kind of a kip. Some celebrities, but they were keeping really low key and had baseball caps on, so they were very hard to spot. And Hollywood, as I said, is not that shiny and wonderful. The Hollywood sign itself is, I'll be honest, it's kind of a letdown. I guess I pictured Beverly Hills when I thought of Hollywood, but no. The next lie that Europeans are told about America is that it's just full of extremes. And don't get me wrong, it is, but it's not just extremes. Our perception through the media is that Americans are either really fat or really fit. They're either total jocks or nerds. Stereotypes from movies. And like I said, don't get me wrong, those stereotypes exist for a reason. However, the majority of people are not extremes. They're just...
I mean, when you watch films and it has those sort of things in it, you're gonna assume that's the case. I didn't really think that. Maybe obese and fit people, because there's a lot of athletes, and then like Instagram will sort of deceive you and stuff. But it's not really. I mean, I've never really felt like that, but I can see how people would, because most films that people watch are from the US and like in US schools and stuff, and you grow up watching that sort of stuff.
Regular in-between people with thoughts and feelings that vary and are nuanced. The next lie that Europeans are told about America is that you just quit your jobs whenever you want to. And that's, again, from TV shows and films. People just go, I quit, when they're unhappy or having a bad day.
Oh, fair enough.
You're fired.
I quit!
You're fired.
These are just movie stereotypes then. I mean, I've never thought in my head that Americans just quit their jobs.
You're fired! You're fired!
Right, I mean, I already quit, so.
Additionally, we think from the same sources that you can just go, you're fired, out of the blue, and there's no repercussions for that. In fact, a lot of times contracts are in place and stuff, and it just doesn't work like that in the real world. On The Apprentice, they do the you're fired, but that's a specific place. The next lie that you are told about America as a European...
Yeah, I can see this, to be fair. This is probably something that I have not thought, but I've never been someone who gives an absolute damn about celebrities. I just don't care. And I always had the assumption that it was just a lot... They're a lot more obsessed in the US, but I've just came to this assumption now that there's just people everywhere, because there's people from the UK that I just have... They have like this love for a certain person or certain people because they're just famous. I don't know. It's not everyone. It's just there's going to be people from everywhere that have that mindset. You know, maybe it's just because of things like all these big sort of award shows and stuff are in the US, and you just sort of that maybe sort of affects your opinion on it a bit, or like stuff like that, or places like Hollywood where it's a bit more materialistic, or LA in general. Like, I don't know, them sort of things maybe affect it, but nah, you know how it is. Everyone's going to be different. I don't think a country is going to be fully obsessed. It's just certain people.
Is that everybody in America is obsessed with celebrities, whereas actually the truth couldn't be farther from that. Okay, so in Europe, a lot of our celebrities come from America, so we naturally presume that everybody is completely obsessed with celebrities within America. In actual fact, most people just kind of see their lives and what goes on behind the scenes as a little bit of entertainment, just like we do in Europe. One thing I will say is kind of odd as a European, always when I go to America, is seeing on your mainstream news the focus on celebrities within actual serious news programs. We don't really have that as much in Europe. I know in the UK they focus a lot on royalty.
Make way for the loser!
But you don't tend to see people talking about celebs on news shows as much in Europe. The next lie, okay, and this might just be a me thing, but the next lie that I believed about America before I went to America, and I actually think you're going to probably slag me off for this in comments. I thought that you guys only had roll-on deodorant.
What?
I thought you didn't have spray-on deodorant. Because in movies, people always roll on their deodorant, you know, in the changing rooms and stuff. I know you have Old Spice and stuff like that, but for some reason, I had it in my head that in America, spray-on deodorant didn't exist. And I was always like, wow.
I never thought that in my life, but I probably didn't watch as many shows and stuff.
They should really get spray-on deodorant. I guess they don't use it in films because it goes and it would make a noise, whereas like it's easier to just do the roll-on if you're like shooting a TV scene. You don't have to have the. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just a me. If you're from Europe, did you know that spray-on deodorant existed in America? Because I didn't. The next misconception.
What? That is the funniest. Funniest lie or belief someone's had about a certain place.
The Europeans have about America is that you're all really rich. And I get why this misconception exists.
I mean, maybe because of the big homes and stuff, like, the houses in the US are just bigger, so it gives you the assumption that they're just richer. But
to be fair, your houses and the land that your houses are on are generally a lot bigger than what we have in Europe for middle class people. Additionally, many people in America live on credit, so a lot of people are living above their means to what they really should be living. And the thing about credit in America is you are encouraged to use credit. Like,
what is credit? Is it like we have benefits here? What? But it's only for certain people. Credit. You have benefits, and like for people who don't work or they have disabilities and stuff, they'll get money from the government, from like taxpayers' money from the government. And there's like different levels of that. Or if you don't work, you get a certain wage whilst you're searching for work. Certain things like that. Does everyone get it? Credit. Wait, so like just like getting loans and stuff then?
A lot of things you can't get until you build up credit, which is
your credit score. Oh, okay. Well, I thought she was on about something different.
It's in Europe, but it isn't so much focused on. Like, there are other ways to build up your.
I found it so weird how building your credit is a thing. Obviously, it makes sense to a degree because you're more trusted because you can pay things back. But like having to get loans to build your credit score and doing this and doing that to build your credit score is mental. It is kind of similar in the UK though. Like, it's just weird to me. Like putting people in that position. That's how it leads to people going into so much debt. Like, it's just wild. But luckily for me, I've never got a loan or anything. Hopefully I never do. I mean, unless I'm doing well in the business and it helps the business or whatever. But yeah, not something that I'd look into for sure. But that's just me.
Trust with banks.
But you're kind of forced to. And I guess like she's saying, in the US, maybe it's even bigger than it is in the UK or wherever she's from.
I mentioned before, I've never seen poverty quite like I've seen in America. In Europe, of course, there are homeless people, but not in the same way that they are in America. It really shocked me. Because I went over expecting, as I said, pretty much everybody to be super rich, and then I saw people looking like Oliver Twist on the street, and that was a surprise to me. Additionally, some things in America are a lot cheaper than they are where I come from in Ireland. Ireland has just been named alongside Denmark as the most expensive country in Europe for the cost of living.
Ireland's doing bits now, isn't it? Like, it's like, I saw a video pop up recently, and like Ireland's getting really rich, but I guess at the same time, it's also very expensive. But I mean, I knew Ireland was a pretty wealthy country, but to that level, I wasn't. And like, you compare it to Scandinavian countries where you just know it's crazy expensive. It's nuts. Fair play though.
The prices of goods and services in Ireland are on average 40% higher than they are anywhere else in the EU. And then when I went to America, it was like things were more expensive in some areas but cheaper in other areas. So I was surprised because I thought everything would be the same, if not more expensive when I went there. The next lie that we are told about America, and this should come as no surprise, and I don't want to get bogged down in the discussion too much, but it's that everybody there has pew-pews.
Oh.
And they don't. Not everybody does. In fact, it's a very divided country on people's opinions about that, but people have very strong opinions about that, and I'm going to swiftly move on. I just thought that every single person would have one when I went there, and that's not the case. The next lie that Europeans are told about America is that pretty much teenagers run America, if media was to be believed, and movies and TV shows. In actual fact, I have still not seen a cheerleader when I've gone to America. I have never...
What? America revolves around teenagers. I mean, I guess every country evolves around the younger people because that's the new generation that are going to be running the country, but I don't know. I don't know if I ever thought that in my life, but maybe because there's a lot of TV shows from like teens, pretty much. There's a lot of teen shows in the US that maybe gives you that opinion, maybe. I don't know, but again, that's nothing that I've ever thought about.
I've been invited to a prom or homecoming, and that seems like an integral part of your society from film and TV, so...
That's a fair point, to be fair. There's a lot of proms and like all that sort of stuff, like house parties, all that sort of thing. But to be fair, you have proms in the UK, like in schools as well, but it's definitely a much bigger occasion in the US, and it's probably copied... The UK have probably copied that from the US as well. Like things like proms and that.
Yeah, I know movies and TV shows aren't real, but I definitely thought that teenagers would have a more central role in America as a result of watching so many of them. The next lie that we are told about America is that you guys eat fast food constantly. And that actually could not be further from the truth. Americans, more so than anywhere else in the world, love to cook. Americans love to barbecue. It's like your thing. You're like, my grill, my barbecue, you're mad for cooking. There is fast food on every corner in America, so that's where the perception comes from. It's a lot easier to get your hands on, but most Americans don't eat fast food every single day. You cook for the most part.
Fast food every day sounds mental. If you eat fast food every day, I've got to respect it because you know what, you don't care, you just love your food, you know what, fair enough. But if I had Burger King 2 days ago, it was my first fast food thing for a good few weeks. And the idea of having it is so nice. And Burger King's better than McDonald's, so I don't ever feel as bad as I do after eating McDonald's and stuff. But just after I eat it, I'm just not satisfied. I'm just a bit like, why did I do that to myself? And people do that every day or every other day in certain, well, just any country. There'll be people who just eat like that all the time. I gotta respect it, but I couldn't do it. I really
thought Americans just ate TV dinners and fast food constantly, and cooking was like something you did at family events. The next lie that we are told about America is that your breakfasts are crazy. Like, you eat waffles.
That's true, man. I mean, I do think about American breakfast being just like a dessert every morning. Probably because in the UK you get like, so we sort of had this mentioned in a video before. You'll get like American food sold in your British shops, and it's gonna be like the craziest versions of what people have, like Reese's Pieces cereal and stuff like this. People aren't going to eat that all the time. It's probably like a special occasion. Or I usually eat sweet cereal as a dessert. Like, I don't ever actually eat sweet cereal for breakfast, if that makes sense. And yeah, I don't think those sort of things would typically actually be eaten by people, but you see that stuff. Plus you see like American diners in TV shows, and you have like the waffles, the bacon and syrup, and thinking that people eat that every day. I don't think anyone could do that, but that's something that I feel like I did learn over time.
Waffles and pancakes and cereal every single morning. You have a full feast for breakfast every day.
So yay! Enjoy smelling breakfast.
In fact, I think most Americans probably live on just the same kinds of...
Same as me. Probably just have some toast in the morning. Bit of butter toast. What do I usually eat for breakfast? I usually eat porridge, to be fair. I'm in a phase of eating porridge. There's a point when I was eating yogurt like with fruit for breakfast and stuff like that. But I'm on a porridge phase right now, so it's gonna be the same. It's just gonna be the exact same. And let's be real. Humans, a lot of humans, I guess, in Europe and in the US will eat the same sort of breakfast. Actually, maybe not, because the places in like France, they probably eat some bougie breakfast, to be fair. But nah, I'm just happy with some porridge or some toast, to be honest.
Breakfast, as most of us Europeans do. Of course, we have Irish breakfast, you have American breakfast, which consists of waffles and pancakes. They do exist.
Yeah, it's kind of like English breakfast. Like, it's what people see as a breakfast, but I've not eaten an English breakfast for probably over a year, which is probably not the same as most British people. I feel like that's definitely eaten a lot more by people. But whenever I eat it, I always feel like I've got heartburn and stuff. Like, it just makes me, acid reflux, and I hate it. I hate how it feels. I love the food, but it's just so, like, you feel so fat after it. And it's kind of like, it's a special occasion kind of food. You don't have it every day. I feel like everyone has it like once a week kind of thing, or typically, but yeah, it's just relatable to that. Like, waffles and stuff is sort of relatable to that, I feel like.
But mostly, I think our general day breakfast crossover. You might have a bowl of porridge, a bowl of cereal, slice of toast, bit of coffee. I definitely thought it was like America-themed breakfast every single day, whereas that's not really sustainable, and you would be carrying a lot of extra weight if you ate that every single day. I would love to have American breakfast every single day, but it's not a good idea. Although the same could be said for Irish breakfast. You should not eat Irish breakfast every single day.
What is Irish breakfast? Is it similar to English breakfast?
To be honest, after I have an Irish breakfast, it's delicious, but it slows me down. I'm like, I like to have a little nap after an Irish breakfast.
I think it's similar, because I do feel the same after English breakfast, to be fair.
The next lie we're told about America, and there's truth in this one, but not as much as I had thought, it's that you will go around suing each other constantly. America is...
That's funny, because you do see those stories of like someone suing someone for something crazy. Like, there's people that are known for suing companies for the most stupid reasons. Maybe that is a thing that I sort of feel is American, because all the stories you see are from the US. But when there's more people, you're going to get more crazy stories like that. It probably happens just as similar the amount of time. It happens just as much in the UK, but because there's 4 times less people, it's not going to be popping up in the news for these sort of stories as much, you know?
It's an extremely litigious country, but I think that's also due to the proportion of people compared to everywhere else in the world.
Oh, there we
if
go.
There's more people
Answered it
somewhere,
myself.
there's going to be more people suing people, right? But the impression that we are given of Americans is that if you bang your head on something, you're going to sue the company that built that something.
I'll see you in court.
Whereas the
I don't know why I just thought of that as being a sort of sentence that someone will say.
is most
I'm
times
sorry.
when something happens, people just let it go unless there's like serious ramifications. I definitely did think people just went around suing each other. I don't think that this is not fueled by the urban myths that are created on the internet. For example, there's that urban myth about the woman in America who sued McDonald's because her coffee was too hot, whereas if you actually go and look that up, the truth is that woman was actually really badly injured and that the coffee was way hotter than it should have been. But people...
There's a story that I heard about a woman who sued... Oh, not reacted to it. I think I just watched the video on my own. This is the sort of stuff that I just watch. This is the sort of thing I could react to, but someone who sued Chipotle or something like that, and she tried suing them because there was a finger found in like her soup or like some sort of food that she ordered, and she ended up being found out for placing the finger or something in the soup, and then they ended up looking into the people, and then they ended up getting locked up for ages because they were some crazy people. They had a dark history or something. I think the woman was known for suing companies, and then they found out something else about her or the husband. But yeah, you hear stories like that, and it makes you think these things. But I've never actually thought people in the US are just gonna sue you more. You just hear these stories and you just think, God, it's ridiculous. But then you just know it's because there's more people.
I like these extravagant...
Although there's probably more people that do it in Florida and stuff, because there is just something in the air there, you know? Like, they just will do it more in places like that, but nah, obviously this isn't actually the case.
Headlines, and it makes Europeans think that Americans do just go around being like, you're sued, you're sued, you're sued. And also I thought that every American just had a lawyer on standby, because when you see things, again, people go, call my lawyer. most people don't just have a lawyer to call. You generally have to research that.
Yeah, good
Let
point.
me know below in comments if
That's
you
a
want
good point. I've never even had a situation where I need a lawyer, but you do sort of hear those sentences. But I feel like it's in TV shows instead of actually happening.
to
You know.
see the other way round version of this. Lies Americans are told about Europe.
It could be something I could watch. I'll be up for that. I'll definitely be up for that. But hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. If you want more from her, obviously go check her channel out and all that stuff. If you want more reactions to this sort of stuff or her channel, let me know in the comments. And yeah, these are some of the lies that I've definitely not believed, but some I probably did believe to a certain degree, and then some I definitely did believe. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.